Hello students, this one is the 8th lecture for two-port network analysis. In this lecture actually we will try to observe and see the solution for different problems on the two-port network. Now before starting I want to tell you that the thing that we have discussed so far, we have some idea on the Z parameter, Y parameter and ABCD parameter and H parameter. Now in the first couple of initial lectures we have said that how the Z parameters, Y parameters and ABCD and H parameters are represented and their main application area. Now for the time being you only have to do the problems on Z parameters and Y parameters, because the H parameters and ABCD parameters are mainly solved for different transistors and the transmission lines, for which that cannot be solved here because the thorough knowledge of transistor and transmission line is required, and for the time being we will not discuss in detail the problems on H parameter and ABCD parameters. We will only show you some solved examples on Z parameters and Y parameters. For your reference I can show you one or two examples on H parameters and ABCD parameters later. So this lecture I discuss in this lecture only the problems on Z parameters, and in the coming lectures I will show you some problems on Y parameters. So here we can see the question here is find the Z parameters for the network shown. So this is the standard formation of two-port network and this is the T configuration of the network. So already we are familiar with this kind of configuration. So this is the T representation or T configuration. So here we are showing that V1 and I1, these two are the input port variables, and V2 or I2 are the output port variables, and these are the three elements provided with proper value. Now our aim here is to find out the value of Z parameters individually, that means the matrix of Z, Z11, Z12, Z21, Z22. So what is the method of solution? It is very simple. We have to consider this loop actually. So we have to form the simple KVL equation for this loop as well for this loop. So as the direction of currents are specified here, so you can understand through this middle branch I1 and I2 both will flow in the same direction, and the final means effective current flowing through this branch should be I1 plus I2. So when we form the equation for first loop, we write it in this way that V1 should be equals to 5 into 10 to the power 3 into I1, because this resistance is carrying this current only, plus 12 into 10 to the power 3 into I1 plus I2. So this resistance is actually carrying both the currents in the same direction, for which we are writing it as plus. And 10 to the power 3 is coming because the units provided here are in kilo ohm. So this is the equation number 1, and from this equation we are separating the coefficient of I1 and I2 so that we can compare it with the standard Z parameter equation. Same for the second loop. Here we will see that this is the second loop we should consider. So we write V2 as equals to 3 into 10 to the power 3 into I2 plus 12 into 10 to the power 3 into I1 plus I2. So again we are separating the coefficients of I1 and I2 so that now it can be comparable with the Z parameter equations. So now you can see that this one should be the value of Z11, this one should be the value of Z12, this will give us the value of Z21, and this one should be the value of Z22. Now you can see the value of Z12 and value of Z21 is same here, and which is the condition of reciprocity of any Z parameter network, means already we have discussed in detail. So here also it is proved numerically that both the values of Z12 and Z21 are coming same. Now one another thing here we can mention that if any kind of T network is provided to us to find out the values of Z parameters without this is the method of formation of the equation. Obviously we have to go through this, but readily if we want to get the values of these parameters, so what we have to do that Z11 value should be the value of this resistance plus this resistance. So if we give the normal naming of this resistance as R1, this as the R2, and say this as the R3. So for any given T configuration, you remember that Z1 always should be equals to R1 plus R3 ohm. Here also it will be 12 plus 5, it will coming as 17, and Z12 should be only equals to R3 ohm. It will also should be equals to R3 ohm, and it will be equals to R2 plus R3 ohm. In place of R, it can also be Z, means impedance value can also be provided in terms of ohm. So that means somehow you have to understand that T configuration is always very much easy to find the corresponding Z parameters, because the terminals can be opened easily, and the equation formation is also easy because only two loop equations we can form in terms of I1 and I2, and V1 and V2 here are the dependent variables. So this is the method of solution for Z parameters for any T network. So this is the problem number 1. Next we see second problem, but this problem is also very similar to the first one, but here the parameters are mentioned in terms of impedance, and this is actually the polar representation. That means these are the complex numbers. So here also questions remain same. In a T network, Z1, Z2, Z3 value if provided, find the Z parameters. So method remains same. We are forming the two loop equations here also, that V1 equals to 2 angle 0 degree I1 plus 3 angle 90 degree I1 plus I2. Then we are just separating the coefficients. Same for the second loop equation. We are writing V2 as equals to 5 angle minus 90 degree into I2 plus 3 angle 90 degree into I1 plus I2, and we are separating the coefficients of I1 and I2. But here the question is how we finally represent the coefficient. Here we see in the first equation the coefficient of I1 is 2 angle 0 degree plus 3 angle 90 degree. So these two quantities cannot be added in this way. So what we do here, we are writing it in this way first, then we convert it in corresponding rectangular form of representation. So 2 angle 0 degree means actually it is 2 plus j0, and 3 angle 90 degree means it is actually 0 plus 3j. So polar formation means polar form of representation cannot be added directly, so for which we have to convert its rectangular form, then we add the real part and the j part. Then again if required we can reconvert this final equation, means final value for the Z11 into polar form. Now here I want to tell you the method of conversion between polar form and rectangular form. Say R1 plus jx1, this is one formation of any particular value. So R1 plus jx1 say is value of Z1. Okay, and say the same value Z1 we write in terms of M1 theta 1, and again we are writing say Z2 as equals to R2 plus jx2 ohm, or Z2 can be written as equals to M2 into theta 2. So this first representation is the rectangular form of representation, and this one is the polar form of representation. So for mathematical calculation or for saving the calculation time, what we have to do, we have to remember always that the polar form of representation is always better for multiplication and division, and rectangular form of representation is always better for addition and subtraction. Now whether these two forms can be interchangeable, yes, obviously we can do this. That means from this form to this form or from this form to this form we can convert it very easily. How? theoretically means mathematically we know the relation, because m1 should be always equals to under root of r1 square plus x1 square, and angle should be tan inverse x1 by r1. And if we know the value of this, means this is actually the polar to rectangular, means rectangular to polar conversion, and then polar to rectangular conversion should be equals to r1 should be equals to m1 cos theta 1, and x1 should be equals to m1 sin theta 1. So mathematically we can do this conversion, but this is not actually feasible to do manually for any problem to save the time. So for which we use the pole or rect function in your calculator. So using these two functions, from polar to rectangular or from rectangular to polar, we can convert very easily. If we want to convert a quantity from rectangular to polar, then you have to use the function pole in your calculator, and you can see automatically one first bracket will be opened. So within this first bracket you have to give, say for example, this value of z1 we want to convert to its corresponding m1 theta 1. So here we have to provide this value of r1 comma x1, then we have to close the bracket, then we press equal sign, that will give us the value of corresponding m1, then we press RCL 10. These two from the calculator we should give, that will give us the value of theta 1. So this is the method of conversion. Same for the polar to rectangular. If we want to convert a quantity from polar to rectangular, we have to use the rect function in place of pole function. Then for that what we do, from polar to rectangular we have to use rect. Again first bracket will be opened, then we give the value of m1 comma theta 1, closing the bracket, then we press equal, it will return as the value of r1, and again we press RCL 10, which will return as the value of x1. If some minus sign is present here, say r1 minus jx1, so here you have to give after comma, means r1 comma minus of x1, and you may get a minus sign of angle. So this is the conversion technique we normally use through calculator, means we normally do through calculator to save the calculation time. And these two formations, means rectangular form is always better to be used for addition and subtraction, and polar form is always better for multiplication and division. So how these two quantities should be multiplied, say for example what should be the value of z1 into z2, it will be only m1 into m2, then angle should be added theta 1 plus theta 2. And if we go for z1 by z2 calculation, then we do, it will be m1 by m2, and angle should be theta 1 minus theta 2. So again this problem is just shown here just for understanding this concept actually. And if your angle is 0 degree, that means actually it is J part will be 0, and if your angle is 90 degree, your real part will be 0, and this value will be only for J. So 0 degree and 90 degree angle can be directly converted to its equivalent rectangular form, and from which we can get the proper value, and these will be the Z12, Z21 and Z22. Again Z22 you can see these two are the polar formation, so we are converting it to its rectangular form, then we are getting it in the final value like this. So this is the problem in complex number form representation. Then we come to the third problem. Here we can see a pi section configuration. Here not T section is assumed, here the pi section model we are using. So here also the questions remain same. finding of Z parameter from this network. How we do that? So far we have understood that for finding the Z parameters, either one of the input port or output port should be open to equate either I2 0 or I1 0. So say for example here we are opening this terminal first, so that I2 should be equals to 0. Then we already know how Z11 can be represented. Z11 should be V1 by I1 only at I2 0. So under this condition, when your I2 is 0, then the current will be starting to flow from this point, then it will reach here, means one part will flow here and another part will flow here. So because of 0 value of I2, your R2 will carry a part of I1 through this path. Then how we find out Z11? Z11 is nothing but the ratio of input port voltage by input port current. So how the currents gets divided here? We have just said that current will reach up to this point, then it will divided through these two paths. So it will be like that, R3 plus R2, these two resistances are in parallel series, and these series combined resistance are in parallel with the R1. So here we are writing these things, that R2 plus R3 parallel R1, and this is the value. So what is this actually? This is the R equivalent under this condition, R equivalent when I2 is 0, and it is actually V1 should be equals to I1 into R equivalent 1, and R equivalent 1 itself is the value of Z11 because it is V1 by I1. Now for finding the value of Z21, because at I2 equals to 0 we can find two Z parameters, one is Z11, another one is Z21. So what is the mathematical formation of Z21? It should be V2 by I1 at I2 0. So we do not know the value of V2 directly. We have to represent this V2 in terms of other parameter obviously. So here we can see in the original figure we have mentioned some current I3 is flowing through this resistance. So how we find this I3? According to the current division rule. So what is that rule? Here if it is the current I3, this I3 is coming from the total current I1, so we are writing the total current into the opposite resistance. Opposite resistance means the resistance through which I3 is not flowing. So here it is R1, then the summation of all three resistance R1 plus R3 plus R2. So this gives us the value of I3 in terms of I1. Then what is the value of V2 we have to know. So V2 is nothing but this current into this resistance. So I3 into R2 will give us the value of V2. So it will be equals to this one. Now we can equate it like V2 by I1, which is the definition of Z21, is coming as equals to R1 R2 by R1 plus R2 plus R3. So these two parameters now can be find out setting I2 equals to 0. In that same way we are just making now opening the input port gives us I1 equals to 0. So we have to observe the circuit from the output port now, making the input port opened. So for which, say for example, we are now assuming I1 equals to 0 and we are treating the circuit from this side, say. So what happens? Similarly I2 will come up to this point, then it will get branched between this part and this part. So looking from this side, what will be the R equivalent to? It will be the R1 plus R3 parallel R2. So we can write V2 as equals to I2 into R equivalent 2, and this R equivalent 2 is nothing but V2 by I2, which is actually Z22 at I1 0. So finding of R equivalent 2 looking from this side gives us the value of Z22, which will be nothing but R1 plus R3 parallel R2. So here we are writing this same thing, R1 plus R3 parallel R2, So this gives us this value of Z22. Then what about for Z12? So Z12, how we find? Z12 is nothing but V1 by I2. So V1 by I2 we have to find out. So what is V1? V1 should be R1 into I3 dash. Here another current we have mentioned. So observing this circuit again closely, we are now writing I3 dash as equals to total current I2 into this opposite resistance by the summation of 3 resistance. So again, according to current division rule, we are getting the I3 prime in terms of I2, and now we write V1 in terms of I3 prime as I3 prime into R1. So finally we are writing V1 by I2 as this value. So all the 4 parameters now are represented in terms of the R1, R2 and R3, and these are the corresponding values of Z parameters. So this is the problem number 3, where it is for pi network.